Welcome back to the Willis Podcast. How you guys doing, ladies and gentlemen? I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you for arriving. I appreciate you for coming in. Appreciate you for being here. Yeah, got a lot to discuss. Got a lot to talk about. And let me get my whip moment set up, and also let me get a TikTok set up as well. I gotta get a stand over here for TikTok. What's the little fucking? Yeah, I gotta. Girl, yeah. Yep, yeah, it is. Yeah, I got a little something for TikTok tonight. Give me a second. Yeah, let me see. Here we go. How to get TikTok. But you know, tonight's show, as you can see the title, by Indigenous people. I repeat again, civilization was again rooted by Indigenous people globally. Globally. So that means there was an indigenous class of people globally that had and that were copper color, melanated people. See, the problem with that concept with Europeans is that they want to feel and act like they belong everywhere they go, which is fine with me. You just have to understand that just because you have told your fair share of tales globally, and everybody knows it, but everybody knows it seems everybody knows it but you. That's what's so perplexed about everything. You're the only one to act as if everything was good for all. And that's just not true. But all, not so much. No, no. You don't get to have your cake and eat it too with those type of mispersuasions of your impact on humanity and what it took for you to even exist in the commentary of humanity as well as what is indeed today in civilization and, mind you, society. So, we will be having whip moments. Oh yeah, we'll be having some whip moments. But I have been attacked, berated. I have been you know Facebook can be a it's just a little, a little what you would call a hate storm. People practice a lot of they get off a lot of hate because they don't want to face the truth and facts about a lot of things. Let me get TikTok going in here because we got some things to get off our chest. I hope they don't suspend me again if they let me on this app because they like suspending me on TikTok for some reason. They enjoy it. I get suspended all the time. I don't know why. Defending myself, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I guess. Let me see if I can go live. There we go. All right. See if we can go live. Change this picture though. Now we're gonna do something else. I'm gonna do something else. Change my background for TikTok. What's happening, people? What's going on? What's happening, my people? What's going on? Let me see what we got going on here tonight. We chilling. We chilling. Okay. We're gonna start there. We're gonna leave it right there. We're gonna work with that. We're gonna work with that TikTok. What's going on, man? I'm back. Yeah, I'm back in here. We're gonna have some discussions today. You know, civilization was rooted by indigenous people globally. See, I know that's hard for a lot of people to accept because you have the other tales, the alternate tales that so many people hang their hats on as if there's not actual proof that people are who they say they are when they can explain their stories. But unfortunately, even for some people, there's no explaining them. There's no even trying to wrestle with ignorance and people that practice a great deal of ignorance. They're not rooted in anything. They don't have a real perspective. They don't have a real perspective. They just like to spew rhetoric. They don't have what you would call um, proof, references. That's why when you look at the Wheelers podcast, I talk, but I also read from actual books. And my books that I do purchase, they are not just, black books. They're not just European books. They're actual real books that a great deal of people had to do with writing. Uh, a lot of great deal of people had to do with writing. A lot of great deal of people had to do with writing, but it was it's because people wanted to write real history. But these things is, when you have agendas, and that agenda doesn't totally suit the narrative of the winning side or winning party or the people that say that they're the victors or the storytellers. When it doesn't suit them, what do they do? Most of the time they have a damn fit. I'm noticing that. I'm like, I'm being very specific, mostly in totality factual about you know my position or my position. I have a position of saying I look at the facts and I just take it from there, and I allow people to come up with your own sums, your own conclusions, with what I share, and I feel that at least I have a great deal of books to share. I'm very well learned, very well studied, um, and I try to be as factual as possible to dig deeper into the archives of human history. Human history is very complex. We all know this. It's very complex, and it's damn show not told by Europeans or Caucasians or even people that have treaties, alliances, allegiances, and these type of connections. So of course they would not tell you the truth about a lot of facts that they omit. See, people will like to set themselves in a space and omit what happened before. That's eraser. You know what I'm saying? That's when you're trying to that's when you're hiding some shit. That's eraser. And if you don't understand what eraser is, it means uh you know when I have a lot of conversations, well, not even conversations, these are just immature back and forth with Facebook users that I say one thing and they lose their wig and don't even go back and look at the actual show. You have to look at the show. And the whole show. I would invite everybody to go to YouTube. I'm trying to get my watch hours up, so I need you guys to go to YouTube, watch my shows, subscribe, love, share, and share them out because that's the archive. That's where everything's housed. So even when I put on shows with TikTok and things of that nature, we have a good time on TikTok, but everything is archived. If you want to rewatch the shows and things of that nature, this show tonight is going to be called Civilization Was Robbed by Indigenous People. Well, civilization was rooted by Indigenous people. Rooted, rooted by Indigenous people globally. So we're going to cover a lot of ground because it's funny how, you know, people only have the depiction of America is from 1776 when there was so much here before 1776. The history of America is beyond the history of the United States. You understand? So when you see pilgrims hang their hats on, things that don't belong to them, it becomes a little egregious. It pisses you off a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yo, man, you can't. It's like it's the best way I can describe it. It's egregious because, like, yeah, we got here and done everything. Like, excuse me, that's not how that went down. No, and everybody knows it. But when you think about the past 60 years or even 80 years, these people didn't build any damn thing at all. You put your names on structures of an overlay society and culture. And the world is now starting to understand that, Donald Trump is exposing a lot about the behaviors of, the behaviors. And I feel like I'm being shadow banned. I feel like I'm being a little, shuffled with. And I think everything it is everywhere. All of the content creators are um, being minimalized, because of you know the overlay society and culture and how they want to deal. So we're still gonna get into these whip moments. So let's go. All right, first whip moment is yeah. I do want to discuss Mike Epps delusional. Um, his delusional comedy special on Netflix. Yeah, it was great. I thought it was great. I've always thought a lot of Mike Epps' comedy. He's always been a real one. Y'all gotta watch it, man. I don't want to give away too many. I don't want to go any spoilers, but he does talk a lot about his ingenuity. He does talk about how it takes a madman to make it for real, for real. But he was he was always he's a real one, man. He's a real OG. He's a real solid cat. He's a solid dude. He even went into his addictions. He tell you I was on coke, boy. I tell you I was man. When I was doing that, I was geeked up. Boy, I tell you, boy. So never done cocaine. Never done any. Nah. But he's funny, and his I respect his comedy. I respect his realness. I respect his longevity in the game, man. One of the funniest in the game, Mike Epps, man. That's for sure. For real though. So, people say they want the cat got it, man. He's funny. So he was talking about a whole lot of shit. He pretty much, he's a wonderful storyteller. Mike Epps is an extremely great storyteller. He stepped his game up on this comedy series. I think it rivals the best out there right now. He has it. It's a phenomenal show. He's kind of like really, really honest about his common sense and his ability to be able to put two and two together. You know what I'm saying? So that means a lot to anybody if you think about it. That's some dope shit, man. So salute to Mike Epps, man. You had a great show, man. I appreciate you for that. Damn, I always got some motherfucking. Damn. Damn. Anyway, let me get to the next what moment. I just wanted, that was not a what moment. That was just salute to Mike Epps over his new comedy series. This comedy series is called Delusional. And I can kind of relate. Hold on, let me get back on. I can kind of relate to people calling me delusional because on Facebook I have been called delusional probably like 1,000 times in the past month, like especially by Caucasians not knowing the ignorance of them not knowing of my Aboriginal roots and the Black Aboriginal roots of people from this landmass. And it's quite absurd that half of the people that have a problem, they're probably from another landmass or something like that, or you're not supposed to know that, or how do you know? So they lead with purely these sarcastic, bizarre, destructive insults, and I don't think they understand how I don't give two shits about your insults. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't give it. I don't care at all. Like you have no idea, whatever. You have no idea how much I don't give two shits about your insults. It's hilarious because you know what they say, like a hit dog a holler. I speak a lot of facts. I talk about a lot of actual books that come from, you know, I got a book called In Plain Sight from Australia. I purchased that book. It was expensive, but yeah, and it talks a great deal about the Aboriginal history of the Americas and how this is the old world and how there was a transference of a lot of you know things that were here they wanted to mimic in the East. Why do you think you read again from left to right? It happened here first. If you go to the Grand Canyon, it's a great deal of stories about not stories, these are facts. There's the Pantheon of Gods in the Grand Canyon, the flood, the Hunger Dryas, you know, from people like this. Let me reverse my camera so y'all can see what this is. Okay. All right. So I want y'all to know how deep I can really go with this thing. You don't want to test or try me with the real knowledge and education about this land because then I will shut a lot of you people up and down. Get my shelf here. Again, let me explain. There's some books I got to bring out tonight. The Invention of Race. Oh yeah. Let me show you this one right here. The Invention of Race in the European Middle Ages. I think a lot of y'all need to understand this information here. This is Cambridge University Press. Since you're so concerned with there you go. Cambridge University Press. Oh, isn't that what this is? And what does it say? Huh? The Invention of Race in the European Middle Ages. So if you want some respectful commentary, here you go. You have it right here. There you go. There you go. Written by who? Geraldine Hinge or Hinge. The Invention of Race in the European Middle Ages. It talks a great deal. I brought this book up a few times, but I could actually go through here because I read it like I read this book and shit, man, it's a good one. Okay. Here's a good one for you. If you like reading and you like evidence. So here you go. Politics of the neighbor, race, conquest, and colonization within Europe. But what of humans with Europe who share the most fundamentalist basis of identity in the Latin West and European peoples of Latin right who are not monstrous aliens, nor Jews, Muslims, mongrels, Africans, pagans, heterics, Sematicists, nor Greek, nor Eastern Christian, but neighborhoods living in proximity and bound by the common Latin Christian faith. Whew, boy. Now you hear this. Okay. Studies of conquest of colonization in the countries of the Celtic French in terms ironized by medievalists and which witnessed the unequal periphery, center relation, and bound Wales, Scotland, Ireland, and the metropolitan hub of England had pointed to English depiction of Celtic barbarity and subhumanism that were standard ideological tropes of England's self justification of enterprise of occupying its neighbors. Redirecting of Wales, Geoffrey Jeremy Cohen, sums of England's colonial strategy, and indigenous people are represented as primitive, subhuman, incomprehensible, in order to render the taking of their lands unproblematic. Hybris thought scholars differ in the legacy of intentions of English conquest. A few degrees, given in the documented record that the indigenous colonized were interbred, portrayed by England as primitive and even subhuman. Do such portrayals constitute race mixing? A micro-historical examples offended Michael Good, Goodrich, Goodrich suggested that in context, living relations on the ground, a shared faith that sometimes bridges large enemies. Goodrich shows how in 1290 the Wales was experiencing a bathful effort to force colonization on Anglicization by neighboring England in attempt execution of the Welsh rebel named William Crog, who miraculously survived death by hanging, a miracle, and he and other attributed to St. Thomas of henceforth. It's real history. Resulted in conciliation between Welsh colonized and English colonizers. Pilgrim of English Saint Shrine, and the subsequently pardoned Welsh ex-rebels in the company of local English lord and the lord wife and husband, sealed the public recognition of a shared religious faith which was which overcome political differences. The religious cult, Goodrich concluded, transcended ethnic loyalties, evidencing the power of faith to bring warring groups together. Despite the destruction inflicted of South Seas and South Wales, shortly before the English South Christian amity did not extend to those who were not co-religionists. St. Thomas himself, while bishop of henceforth, had supported the expulsion of Jews from England and confiscated the Jewish property because they are enemies of God and rebels against the faith. Goodrich. If microhistory suggested the enmity between colonized and colonizers can sometimes be disengaging by a common religion and a shared religious ritual, such as pilgrimage, literary examples, also assessed to visions, nor bridged by a common profession of a Latin rite studied point to how Blind Harry's nationalistic work of 1470s, the Wallace ferociously insisted that essential differences of blood fundamentally separated English colonizers from native Scots resist despite commonly of faith. R. James Goldstein stressed the Welsh was of blood of the indictor of both classes of race, while Richard J. Mill shows that how blood functions less in the genetic or genetical category, and Wallace as the blind glue of true Scot, defined that those who are loyal to the national cause of Scotland's independence, whatever the socio-economic, personal, or group status, whether Highlanders or Lowlanders. Among neighbors of Latin Christendom, Ireland presents resonates examples of how even commonalities of faith can be adroitly manipulated to subserve colonial, colonial interest. England invaded and occupied of Ireland required a theological hermetic, hermeneutic that insinuated different of the fundamental kind between Christianity and the colonized, referred inferior, defected of deviant of Christianity of Anglo Norman colonizer assumed as superior and normative. Now, do you understand that mindset right there? Totally false, totally deviant, based on who would get down or lay down. That's all that shit was about. It wasn't about nothing else. See, that's why they invented this. They started inventing race because it started taking people out of their actual um, complete mindset. It was damn, like I said, it's a damn cult. So that's how these Europeans formed the invention of race. It made everybody else subservient to them because of literally how they looked. So they judged everybody else. If they did not look at them, they act like they was the actual master judge to say who looked like what and who belonged to what and who said what wherever they went. Colonizer mindset. And so that allows me to understand more about the European perspective of me. So I understand, like, I get it. You're ingrained to think like this. You see how thick this damn book is. So you think I don't actually understand how you think and the reason why you have come up with your god awful conclusions about anything? Because it's based out of pure foolishness and manipulation, but it's very abstract because you had to do a lot of work. A lot of work. Let me even go through just the table of damn. Let me show you the kind of work you did to so-called stake your claim globally, which was all the apparatus, right? A lie that you subdued people in because you promised shit that you could not deliver on. Look at what you're doing now. Now you failed at everything and you're practicing the same apparatus. Oh, I should take over. No, you should not. You have done a fucking terrible job, a horrible job of doing so. So let me tell you about the contents of this book. First of all, yeah. Here we go. I need some eye drops. Eyes getting dry. Give me a second, folks, so I can read with some clear eyes. That's much better. And these lights are bright too, you know what I'm saying? Y'all gotta see my face. Yeah. You don't have to, but I like to be real with people, you know what I'm saying? I don't have myself. So here it is. Let me get you the content so you understand that these people understand that we educate ourselves about everything. At least I do. I educate myself about who and what everything and what everybody is, who they proclaim to be, what they think they know, so that I'm never misunderstood about who I'm dealing with. First of all, it's always important to understand who you're dealing with. It's extremely important because sometimes, you know, if you don't understand, some people are your enemy and some people are not your enemy. So I'm just allowing you to, embark on giving you some real game about how to understand how people that invented shit like this, how they think. I want you to understand people that invented. I want you to understand how people invented shit like. I want you to understand how they think. So let me get to the contents at least, because I can't read you all of this damn book. I give you a good run, but I mean, let me just give you the contents. So in chapter 1, And don't forget to, share, like, love the show, uh, watch the show, share the show. I need my numbers to go up, so I need y'all to start watching the long content on YouTube. If you may, please subscribe to the Wilderness Podcast on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. So let's get to it. Chapter 1: The Invention and Reinventions. See what I'm saying? Check it out. This is old shit. Invention and reinvention. Raw studies, modernity in the Middle Ages. Raw theories of friction, modernity versus the times of race, and old stories of titles and origins. Pro-modernist writes back, historical, alternate past. They alternate past. Now you hear this. Rethinking race in deep times, religious race, medieval race, Jews, and the benchmark example, okay? Using Jews as the benchmark example, archetypes of racial formations, church and state, law, learning, governmentality, 13th and 15th centuries. What is this? Categoric race, categorific race, freakish, deformed, disabled, or a racial map of world in the Middle Age, politics of neighboring races, conquest, colonization within Europe, politics and epidermises, color differences in medieval, censorum of race. Yeah, the censorum. The whole censorum. Look that word up. They censored race, meaning they threw some people out of their whole fucking history. Just get them out of here. They don't even want them in the history. So chapter 2, State and Nation. A case study of racial state, Jews and inter-minority in England, living figures of absolute difference in race, of the race of Jews in pre-exposure, the economist of racial state of Jews and figures in capital economic modernity in the medieval Pan-Ocean, the state of administration of race. See, there it is, the administration of race, church and state, partners, political theology, identical state, apparatuses, racial practices. Boy, conversions of racial passing is strategic, essentialism, miscegenation, biopower, sensory race, England's dead boys, a new race, and its home, post-exposure. See, that's chapter 2. That's state nation. That's basically obliterating again. Read these words. Conversion of race passing in strategic essentialism, miscegenation, bipower, sensory race, England's dead boys. Who do you think those dead boys were? Oh, or are they still in the shadows of England today? They're still in the shadows of England to this very single day. The dead boys. Huh. Think about that shit. The dead boys. Wow. Okay. Now let's get to chapter 3. War and empire. Race figures. In an international context, the Islamic, Saracen, the Saracen fever, the world war, and the global system of Islam. 11th to the 15th century. The Holy War, Redux, and the Crusades, Gens, Christiana, Malicide, and the Blood Race, Sex, Lies, and Paradise, the assassinations and the fabulations of Saracens, pleasures of civilization, civilizational identity, deviance in the definition of a population, a man of all season, Saladin, and how the West made new race or slavery, sex mixing, and slave dynastics, Saracens, and mercantile capitalism, and a race economies, and global Islam. That's chapter 3. This war and empire, yeah, buddy. Oh, I got more from chapter 3.
Oh, no, that was it. Oh, chapter 4. Oh, here we go. Chapter 4. Color. Oh, yeah. Epidermal race. Phantasmatic race. Blackness in Africa and the racial sensorism out of Africa. The good, the bad, and the piebald. Politics. Epidermis. Part 2. Epidermis. Okay. Black Knight, White Knight, trajectories of fear, desire, or how romance figures historians in the outside, inside. Black Queen, White Queen, the Geo. Oh, eroticism of virtue, flesh, epidermal race. Mixing babies, haunting presences, a lump of flesh, piebald offspring and giants, infants. And the return of the Black King, the racial saint, transporting Africa to Europe. Or blackness, and the enigma of racial sanctity. Boy, this book here, I think you heard what I just said. I think you heard all of this. Color. The need for the white sakes, black mixing. And the degradation of them if they don't do so. That's what's going on today. You see all these white girls out here, you know what they doing. You see some of the cool white guys, you know what they doing. They I think they're a little evolved. They're beyond the foolishness. They don't see their people as forward moving or forward thinking. And I think they've studied different. They learned different. They probably are global. They've been a lot of places, so they don't see humanity as if some whites. That's why you can't make white people a monolith either, can you? Not when you see a lot of what's going on today and how society is moving. See, everything is not for the worse or for the bad. It's just a bubble. It's a bubble that has to pop. That's basically what it is. Because I'm telling you, this bubble has been popped and blown up and popped so many goddamn times. It's just these are the recent times. But these was the inventions of it. This is what they had to go through to lie and prove points that all of this shit is shattering down now. But I'm telling you how they came up with these concepts out of pure evil. Now look at World War One. Okay, let me get more into this book because these are some of the moments. But I mean, hell, the book taking it right now. It's taking shit. I mean, chapter 5, World One, a global race of the European imaginary, a Native Americans in the North Atlantic, first races in the Americas. Scarlings in a land of abundance? Exactly. Scarlings. Deviants. That's them Siberians. I told you. Anyway, let's go. In a cellular colonization of 2 lessons of how the bulk of natives, women made a difference in not war or trade, but with linguistic exchanges. Native boys, foreign animals, genetic, disease, race, DNA, and historical ecology, bodies, and limits of technology, or how demography trumps metallurgy, metallurgy. The Mongoloid, epic global race, and absolute power. What are Mongoloids? Animals, diet, and the limits of a human global imperium. Mongoloid women and Asiatic gifts economy. A Mongoloid political authority, if it were monster, the ethno racial empire, gods, back, prayers of currency, a gift, and service economy of empire of pragmatism, heritism, virtual race in the 13th century, racing, Nestorian Christians, Marco Polo and the difference of mercantile capitalism and the end of race. Shit. profiting in the difference of sex, race, and exchanging the global economy. Didn't I tell you motherfuckers we all share DNA? I told you. You act like what I say is fucking not the truth, but I'm reading my words that I've spoken many times before because I know how to read. And I'm allowing you to understand the actual terminology and the actual phases of which this whole apparatus have taken place. Shit. Where was I? Profiting from different sex, race, and exchange of global economy. Mongoloid, my modernity, Mongoloid women and the transformation of fear and desire. Race and religion returns to Christian, Saracens, enmity, and the world of difference. Maddenville and the fantasies of race and religion. China and India, the Prester. John Legend in the return of the Jews, conquering the world of Islam, regaining the Holy Land, and the empire of all reasons. Prester Johnson triumphs over the Great Khan. Journey to the West, Rabbi Salma, Nestorian heretic in the Latin Christendom, race, religion, and the return of the Jews. That was World 2. Now World 3. A global race in diaspora, a slave race of centuries. From India to Europe, the people emerging adapt to the receiving of the Christian yet not Christian empirical race, custom, spectacle, in the gaze of the West, surveillance, punishment, and expulsion in Western Europe. The beginning of the end, falling into slavery in the Romany of Southeastern Europe, free to embrace the ethno-racial, Romani, and other ending and beginnings. So you see, Europe has an extremely complex history, very complex. Even Europeans understand the invention of races. That's why they don't allow certain people like Tariq Nasheed to go to England, because he says he's too real. He's too much. That's probably why I'm being a little, kind of shunned a little bit on these platforms. But it is what it is. I try to tell the truth. I give it to you from what I purchased out of my own pocket. This is nobody gave me this. I buy my own books and shit. You understand what I'm saying? So I can also give you another one right here. This one, The Hidden History. Roger G. Kennedy. I read this book to you guys before. You see what I'm saying? Hidden Cities. Right here in the America. So when people try to tell Black Americans who they are, don't do that. You are not equipped. You're not well learned. You don't have the history because you like to read books like this. This one I'm gonna show you the shit you like to read. Where is it? My Western Civilization book from college. Let me find that piece of shit real quick. Is it in here or is it outside? Shit, I got a better one for you. Got a better one. Black Spark, White Fire. More about Europe, since you have so much to say about, Europe. You didn't come from anything, and let's talk about it. Darkest Europe, riddled of the Sphinx, Sensosaurus the Great, the Egyptian mysteries. When Egypt ruled the waves, secrets of Mason, the Great Grain, the pyramids of Greece, the master race, children of Ham, the first men. See, this book is way too heavy for you. Check that out. So you think I don't know what I'm talking about? I am your black daddy, boy. Any way you want to look at it. Any way you want to look at it. You see? Any way you want to look at it. I'm your black daddy. I'm your daddy. I'm your father. And I can prove it to you. See, We're going to read this one on the next show. Since I've shown you where you came from, I'm going to tell you. I think you need to check this book out. Check it out. Check it out. Read this book. Read it. That way you can educate yourself about yourself. It has so much thorough information that you need to know, because the European, you are not who you think you are. I promise you, when you really, you need to understand you are a child of development still. You are not even in the damn. The world had to be this way so you can understand that you should not be in the leadership position that you position yourself in. You do not have the altitude. You don't have the vision. And that's just not all, but this is what's in place right now. Can you see all of them? I mean, shit, the numbers are very grim when they act like they can do something, because these are a bunch of fucking children. These are not even real diplomatic people. They're all losers. It's crazy. For real. They don't know history. It shows. They don't want to push us forward. They want to self-feed. And that has nothing to do with color. The sad part about it is, damn, some white people don't understand how much you're way. I promise you are not in a better position than me. I promise you that. I promise you. But also, everybody can be, everybody can learn a lesson. Everybody can reach beneath the surface and understand who you truly are, so that you can understand that you may have way more in you than you think you do, Caucasian. If you don't understand that you've been through an ethnogenesis as well, I'm sure you understand you have. You see the book? You can't be in pure form and even be alive. You're only 6,000 years old, so that's why you got to think about it. You. I hate to be cruel, but in all actuality, with your behavior, you actually you place yourself outside of humanity on purpose, because you think you're better, when you should follow yourself in with some humility, and that's one thing you lack profuse humility. You expect me to practice? No. The problem is that has happened too long. So I talk to you how I feel like talking to you. Shit, this is my podcast, and I say what the hell I want to say. I ain't got to lie about your what you say. Man, please, y'all can keep on. Y'all already limited me anyway. That's what you do. But that's a personal problem. Why would you stop my money? Because I can tell you the truth. Maybe the powers that be should be learning this shit too. Get it? You get it? You should be learning this shit too. You should learn this shit too. Maybe to make you a better person. How fucked up your mind really is. And how, you have a real problem with the truth, because your shit ain't real anyway. You already know what's going on this planet. You know what's going on. You know what's going on in the world. You know your whole shit is a fabrication. I'm showing you about your fabrication. You just don't like the messenger, and that's fine. But I knew you would be that way, so I give you more shit like this. Again, this is not shit. This is some valuable information. This is great, thorough, a thorough chronology of the white race and how it was developed and nurtured and actually civilized by the black race. If you just want to argue with me and all, that's fine, but you can't argue with the facts. You can't argue with records. You can't argue with work that somebody took, like Richard Poe. He took his time out to do his real research. And if you want to do your research on him, you'll see his thorough history. You understand what I'm saying? So don't come at me as if I don't have a plethora of references. A plethora of references, just like this goes hand in hand with this one right here. This is not by the same artist. But don't it tell you this? They came before Columbus, huh? Columbus was last, huh? Right here in Americas, Columbus was last. Let me give you a little bit of this, since you don't know. Let me give you a little peek into this book right here. American graffiti. Among the frequent travelers to the ancient Americas, it seems, were the Phoenicians, hence, from their present appears across the continent of 10 miles off the coast of Maine and Mohegan Island of the Oregon inscription given the old Goldenic tongue of the Celts, which reads, ships from Phoenicia, cargo, platform. This area, says Fell, was apparently set aside in the loading and the unloading of the Phoenician ships. The post inscribed in probable design to notify the Celts of New England were the trade. Their goods were the Phoenicians. Farther south of the seashore in the Mount Hope Bay near Bristol, Rhode Island, in high stern, watercraft had been carved up in the rock below in the inscription of proclaiming the stones of Phoenician mariners. Phoenician mariners were black people. Do you understand? The original Phoenician homelands was today Lebanon, Tyre, Sidon, and most implement and were in most famous cities. The Phoenicians were widely regarded as the most experienced mariners in the times that dominated trade in the Mediterranean for centuries. They were the best known for their purple cloth and their manufactured sea in a snail called murex. This cloth was so that the royalty everywhere were the Greeks called the makers. Phoenica, Phoenikoi, which means purple people. By the 9th century BC, Phoenicians established and settled west upon the great city of Chaldees, which is located in Atlantic in the south of Spain. A native Iberian adopted in the Semitic language for their colonizers who wrote in the variant script known as Iberian. So highly regarded in the marinas, the Phoenicia, that many Mediterranean rulers in the first millennium in BC upon them for one task of another. Biblical accounts in the Solomon king of Israel in the 10th century BC set his ships to Tarshish, generally taken in reference in Phoenicia, a search for a gold and precious stone. Fellow wanderers of the king and protecting parties may not have crossed the Atlantic in the Sea of Snails in the Rio Grande to find New Mexico, hence that this just may have occurred. 15 miles, Los Lunas, in the banks of Rio Pira, a territory of Rio Grande, lies 2 mountains halfway up north of the slope of a ravine, leading in the top of the group. In the north of the slope of one, it is settled in 1883, discovered in the strange inscription inscribed in the face of the 8-ton boulder. The inscriptions covered 4 to 4-foot surface of consist of nine line carved in the basin block, and when Robert Peffer, a Harvard Semitic scholar, saw an inscription in 1949, he recognized the letters coming from his ancient Phoenician, Latin, Greek alphabet. The Phoenician and Hebrew were very close neighbors and used approximately the same language and alphabet the Greek's alphabet had itself, subsequently derived in the Phoenicians, and Latin were later derived from the Greek. You understand? Pfeiffer read the inscription from right to left. A typical Semitic fashion, realized the dimensions on the stone was none other than the 10 Commandments, other than henceforth confirmed that the translator and agreed that the script in the language actually ancient Hebrew. Epigraphers have dated and inscripted characters. Skeptics shake their heads. A wild drama, such feelings. Such findings generate. So you want to tell me again how blacks, indigenous blacks ruled, purple people ruled the whole globe? Huh? The whole thing? Everywhere. from the Olmecs to Mayans, I'm talking about the whole globe. So when you sit up here and tell me, and when you want to make me claim that I got to tell you that blacks ruled it all, yes, yeah, we ruled it all. Yeah, we did it all, Pippin. All of it. We invented everything. That shouldn't be a problem for you, but I guess it is. And it shouldn't be, but you should really start to learn and stop being so hateful and deceitful and despicable, because these are things that you should pick up for your damn self. You ain't gotta. I sit up here and I'll give you a preview. Give you a preview of Black Spark White Fire. Let me pick. I will read that. I will read that, but let me go here. That's too deep for y'all. That's too deep, y'all. Y'all need something a little lighter than that. According to Greek, the Pax Egyptiaca. You say Greeks ain't from Egypt? They didn't learn from they didn't learn from the Egyptians? What? They didn't learn from the Cometians? What? They didn't? I beg to fucking differ. According to Greek legend, Erechtheus was the fourth king of Athens. He was the king who saved the city from famine by obtaining a large ship from Egyptian grain, or so claimed certain Egyptian priests. Diodorus of Sicily recorded the testimony as follows. Erechtheus was the birth of an Egyptian. Once, when there was a great drought, which extended over practically all of the inhabitants of earth, except Egypt, Erechtheus, through his racial connections with Egypt, brought from there to Athens a great supply of grain. In return, those who had enjoyed this aid made their benefactors king. After he had secured the throne, he instituted institutionary rites of Demeter and Eleusis and established mysteries, transforming their rituals from Egyptian. And the Athenians, on part, agreed that it was the reign of Erechtheus when the lack of rain was wiped out the crops. This Demeter came to them with the gift of grain. That's the show tonight. I appreciate you guys listening in. But that's just a preview I thought I would give you, since we never done anything. Blacks haven't done nothing, We're just here. Hey, man, I'm just trying to let people know they funny. They funny. They funny. Yeah, so when I tell you we did everything from, I had to hear West a lot. I love the scholarship on Western, but I to the East sometime to let you know, yeah, we did it all over. So gonna tap into the West. I'm gonna tap into China too. We're gonna tap into Japan with Race War. We got a book called Race War for China. We're gonna tap into that shit too. So I'm telling you, we're gonna do some great things. We're gonna have some great times, and we're gonna enjoy some great lessons right here on the Wilderness Podcast. I promise you, yes, we are. Shows are gonna get better. Way more into what I started this for. Getting into the commentary, but I want to share, like, subscribe, and I appreciate you guys doing so. Thank you. So okay, let me get up out of here, man. I love you guys, and I'll be dealing with you a little bit on TikTok for real. YouTube, thank you so much. Thank you so much for dealing with me. I'm gonna start going on YouTube direct too, man. I'm about to start being direct to the app. I'm going direct to the app. I'm about to eliminate some stuff. I got enough shorts out. Y'all know my name. I'm about to get straight to it now. So this is probably gonna be one of the last restream shows and things like that. We're gonna get straight to the app and shit. Like we're gonna do too. So yeah, we're gonna start running them at the same time. Doing them on different apps. But I'm going straight to YouTube. I'm gonna eliminate a lot of this other shit. So we ready to go. So anyway, YouTube, love you guys, and always remember this one thing: the will is yours. Understand that shit. But I love you guys. Check out the show. Share the show. Like, subscribe. Go to the Wilderness Podcast. Don't forget realistpodcast.com. Get some merch. So go subscribe on YouTube to the Realist Podcast on YouTube. And hit that follow button right now, too, y'all. Goddamn, y'all